Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another new release review, and for today we will be covering Us. The story follows a family as they are out on a vacation, only their paradise quickly turns to terror when a group of doppelgangers shows up and begins to wreak havoc. Now, as we all know, this is Jordan Peele's second directorial outing, and I personally love Get Out, so I was super stoked for this movie. I was more excited for this than I was for Captain Marvel or the upcoming Shazam, so it's safe to say I had pretty high hopes. Did this movie pay off? Let's find out. The first positive is, of course, the cast. Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke are the main ones. Of course, the children are there as well, as we follow the entire family, and surprise, surprise, they absolutely crush it. They feel like a natural family, and they have a seamless chemistry, and they have these little awesome relationships with each of their children, and they do these little things, like for one, the mother and the son, they do this little thing with their hands to make sure that they know they have each other's backs and that each other are safe. So all of that lended very, very nicely to the family dynamic. On top of those already incredible performances, they had to also act as these doppelgangers, but these doppelgangers don't really say a whole lot. So all that these actors can use to portray these doppelgangers is their facial expressions, their body movements, the kind of noises that they can make, and of course that is incredibly difficult to do. And the next part is the Us, I'm gonna call them the doppelgangers. Why? Because they're creepy as hell. They have those red jumpsuits on, they're super weird, they all walk around with this really sharp pair of scissors. I've never seen scissors that sharp in my life. Everything they do is movements and sounds and facial expressions, and they are bloody terrifying at it. And they were wonderful antagonists for this film. Next up is the plot of this movie and the big ideas that Jordan Peele goes for. Now, you thought Get Out had big ideas. This movie really goes all out. Okay, how creepy would this be? Just put yourself in this mindset. You're in a little cabin, you're with your family, you're having a good time, playing board games, having drinks, going to the beach. All of a sudden, in the middle of the night, the power goes out, and there's this family in red jumpsuits with scissors, and then, oh wait, they're you, and oh now, they're trying to kill you. That's genius! And next is the comedy in this movie. That is something I really didn't expect. There's a lot of comedy in here, and it is freaking hilarious. The comedy hit every single time for me. So Jordan Peele in the comedy department, even though his two directorial flicks have been horrors, he still definitely has it in the comedy department. Next is the unsettling and disturbing imagery. This movie is really gory. It's not like crazy over the top like Saw or like the Evil Dead remake or anything, but it's pretty disturbing and definitely gore-filled, and a lot of it is done in a very realistic manner, whether it's just simple throat slits, stabbings, and then of course you have the blunt weapons like you see in the trailer where Winston Duke has the baseball bat. That gets quite a lot of use throughout this movie, and of course the sound design. You hear the bones crunching and the mushing of brains and muscles and stuff, and it's all kind of nasty. And last but certainly not least, actually, yeah, probably least with a bunch of big ones like that, is the soundtrack to this movie. The song that you hear in the trailers, man, I still got it stuck in my head. I'm still grooving to it. I can't groove at all. I suck at dancing. So yeah, the soundtrack is killer. Pun not intended, actually, believe it or not. And now for the negatives, and sadly they are pretty big negatives. Firstly, and this one was a huge disappointment to me, I did not find it scary at all. Like, it's listed as a horror. I was not scared once. I felt tension, sure, there was intense moments, intense chase sequences, and a few moments where I was kind of like, oh, okay, you know, it's getting a bit creepy, but it was never scary. I never had that urgency to me where I was filled with terror. And next is the comedy and horror didn't always mix all that well. Sometimes it worked brilliantly, but there were a lot of moments where the comedy just sucked the tension right out of the scene. It did feel misplaced, even though I would still laugh at it. It felt misplaced, and sometimes it took away from the more horror slash thriller elements of the movie, so I didn't find the blend of that horror and comedy always worked all that well. Now next, well, I won't get into the particular scene, the first encounter you have with these doppelgangers, I felt it to be super underwhelming. I was expecting so much more, so after that, everything after that first encounter was great, but that first encounter itself, being self-contained, really wasn't all that great, and I almost felt like it didn't make sense based on where the movie goes. And lastly is that I felt the ending was pretty unsatisfying, believe it or not, but it made sense to me. I understood what they were doing. I just felt it didn't make sense for the story. So yeah, that's pretty much what I thought of that. I felt the actual true ending of the movie to be pretty unsatisfying. So all in all, guys, those are my thoughts on Us. Wasn't really what I expected, but I still enjoyed what I got. Therefore, I'm going to have to give Us a 7.5 out of 10. So if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know, what did you think of Us? As always, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap. Welcome back to another new release review, and for today, we will be covering Captain Marvel.